Southern Europe is burning, and it's getting worse by the hour. Deadly wildfires are sweeping across the continent, claiming lives and forcing thousands to flee their homes as temperatures soar above 40 degrees Celsius. This isn't just another fire season. Europe is on track for its worst wildfire year on record, with nearly 2.4 million acres already consumed by flames, more than double the average for this time of year.
Extreme heat is continuing to fuel wildfires across the south and west of Europe. Thousands of people have been forced from their homes as temperatures have risen above 40 degrees Celsius. Red heat alerts have been issued in parts of Greece, Italy, France, Spain, Portugal and the Balkans, carrying a warning of significant risk to health. In Portugal, firefighters have been battling 3 large wildfires, with the most serious near Troncoso in the centre of the country. More than 1,300 firefighters and 14 aircraft were deployed, with Morocco sending 2 planes after Portuguese water bombers broke down. Authorities warn southern regions could hit 44 degrees Celsius, with the temperature not expected to dip below 25. Our correspondent Guy Hedgecoe is in Madrid and he gave us the latest on the situation in Spain.
The scale of devastation stretches from Spain's ancient UNESCO sites to Greece's 3rd largest city, where entire communities are under siege. Emergency services are stretched to breaking point, battling multiple blazes simultaneously as extreme weather creates the perfect storm for destruction. The unprecedented nature of this crisis has shocked even seasoned disaster experts, with the European Forest Fire Information System reporting that more land has burned in 2025 than in any of the last 19 years. We're talking about an area larger than some entire countries going up in smoke. The situation has become so severe that the European Commission has received as many requests for firefighting assistance this week alone as they normally get in an entire year. A relentless heat wave has gripped southern Europe for weeks, temperatures reaching 43 degrees Celsius in Spain, and similar extremes across Portugal, Greece, and the Balkans. The Spanish weather agency AMET issued stark warnings, calling the danger extraordinary as parts of the country push above 110 degrees Fahrenheit. But extreme heat is only part of the equation. Strong winds, prolonged drought, and minimal humidity have created what fire experts call the perfect conditions for catastrophic blazes. In Greece, civil protection OAM officials describe a perilous mix of high temperatures, powerful winds, and bone-dry vegetation that's turning forests into tinderboxes. The human cost is mounting rapidly. In Spain, tragedy struck when an employee at an equestrian center died after suffering severe burns.
Let's begin with Spain. An employee at an equestrian center in Tres Cantos near Madrid died while reportedly trying to save animals from the flames. Another firefighter was killed in Castile and Leon. In Montenegro, a soldier was killed and another is seriously injured when their water truck overturned while battling a blaze north of the capital, Podgorica. In southern Spain, nearly 2,000 people were evacuated near the coastal town of Tarifa. Officials say they saved a residential area at the very last second. In Castile and Leon, multiple fires are threatening the ancient Roman gold mines at Las Medullas, which is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Regional leaders have vouched
while reportedly trying to save horses from flames in Tres Cantos, a wealthy suburb north of Madrid. The man became trapped as winds of up to 70 kilometers per hour whipped the fire through the area. Another death was confirmed in Spain's Castile and Leon region, where a volunteer firefighter lost his life battling the flames. The loss of life extends beyond Spain's borders. In Albania, an 80-year-old man died from smoke inhalation after a garden fire he was tending spiraled out of control, spreading to nearby homes and injuring 8 others. Meanwhile, in Montenegro, a soldier died, and another was seriously injured when their water tanker overturned, while fighting fires in the hills north of the capital, Podgorica. These aren't just statistics, they represent families torn apart and communities devastated. In Greece, the situation around Patras has become particularly desperate. The nation's 3rd largest city is under siege as fires
What does it look like? It looks like doomsday. We came from Athens with our volunteer association, Cleisthenes. We can't do anything more. May God help us and help the people here.
Water planes and helicopters joined forces as mass evacuations remain underway across Greece. Blazes are continuing to destroy homes, businesses and properties.
Consume surrounding pine forests and olive groves, destroying dozens of vehicles and creeping dangerously close to residential neighborhoods. Fire service spokesman Vasilis Vathrakoyanis painted a grim picture, saying today is another very difficult day with the level of fire risk remaining very high across many parts of the country. At least 15 firefighters needed medical treatment for injuries and exhaustion, highlighting the physical toll on emergency responders. The scale of the firefighting effort is unprecedented. Nearly 5,000 firefighters backed by 33 aircraft are deployed across Greece alone, rotating between blazes on the western mainland, the Patras area, and tourist islands like Zakynthos. Greek authorities recorded 82 new fires in a single day, a number officials called exceptionally high and a clear sign that the crisis is accelerating rather than stabilizing. Spain has been forced to request European Union assistance, including 2 water-bombing aircraft, as Interior Minister Fernando Grande Marlaska warned that weather forecasts.
Well, there are several dozen that are still burning, pretty much in every region of the country. However, there are some which are particularly big, particularly in the northwest of the country. In the northwestern region of Galicia, there's a large fire in the province of Orense, which has been burning for several days now, and which has already burnt several thousand hectares. Also in the northwest, in the provinces of Zamora and Leon, there are very big fires as well. Now, in the region of Castilla y Leon, where those 2 last fires I was talking about are taking place, around 8,000 people are currently out of their homes. They've been evacuated from their homes because of fears about how close the fire is getting to them. And several hundred members of the military have been deployed to help firefighters. So although there are dozens of fires still burning in many areas of the country, it's up in the northeast where things are particularly serious.
Suggest conditions could deteriorate further. The government has evacuated nearly 6,000 residents as flames threaten the UNESCO World Heritage Roman mining site in Castile and Leon. 7 people have been hospitalized with burns, with 4 in critical condition. The evacuation scenes are heartbreaking. In central Spain, evacuation centers fill to capacity, forcing some displaced residents to spend nights outdoors in a folding bed. Television footage shows residents joining firefighters beneath thick smoke clouds.
People have already left the village. There's just a few of us remaining, and we are waiting for a bulldozer and firefighters to arrive.
What are we going to do if our house burns? I'm so sorry.
This is crazy. It's absolute nonsense. What's happening makes no sense.
Local communities demonstrating remarkable solidarity. People are working together and helping each other protect their homes and evacuate when necessary, even as the danger continues to mount. Portugal is fighting its own desperate battle. More than 2,100 firefighters and 20 aircraft are combating 5 large blazes, with particular focus on a fire in central Trancoso that has been burning since Saturday. The situation became even more challenging when powerful wind gusts reignited flames overnight, threatening villages where residents were seen hosing down their homes in a last-ditch effort to protect their property. The fires have consumed more than 42,000 hectares in Portugal this year, 8 times more than the same period last year, and the largest area burned since 2022. More than half of that destruction occurred in just the past 2 weeks, showing how rapidly the situation has deteriorated. Across the Balkans, dozens of fires have overwhelmed emergency services. The region's typical fire season has been intensified by prolonged drought and the ongoing heat wave. Albanian authorities have evacuated residents in central and southern regions, while improving weather in neighboring Montenegro has provided some relief for firefighters trying to protect homes. Even countries not typically associated with wildfire risk are feeling the impact. Britain, experiencing its fourth summer heat wave, has declared a major incident at North York Moors National Park, where approximately 5 square kilometers of land have burned. A stark reminder that climate change is expanding fire risk to previously safe regions. The international response has been swift but stretched thin. The European Union has mobilized its civil protection mechanism, rushing aid to affected CE countries, including non-member states. European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen announced support for Greece following their assistance request, while efforts are also focused on Montenegro, where fires burn dangerously close to the capital. What makes this crisis particularly alarming is how it reflects broader climate trends. Wildfires are not unusual in Europe, but the climate crisis is driving hotter, drier weather that sets the stage for fiercer fire seasons. The combination of rising temperatures, changing precipitation patterns, and more frequent extreme weather events creates a feedback loop that makes each fire season potentially worse than the last. The smoke and greenhouse gas emissions from these fires are among the highest ever recorded, according to the EU climate MOC, NITR Copernicus. This creates an additional layer of environmental concern, as the fires themselves contribute to the climate change that makes future fires more likely and more severe. Emergency responders are adapting their strategies on the fly. Aircraft forces rotate between multiple blazes, prioritizing areas with the highest risk to human life and critical infrastructure. Ground crews work around the clock, often in temperatures that would be dangerous even without the added stress of fighting fires. The physical and mental toll on firefighters is becoming a crisis within the crisis, with medical treatment needed for exhaustion and injuries becoming routine. Local communities are also adapting, with residents taking unprecedented steps to protect their homes. From hosing down walls to creating fire breaks around properties, people are becoming active participants in their own defense, rather than simply waiting for professional help. This grassroots response is both inspiring and sobering. Inspiring for the community spirit it demonstrates, sobering for what it says about the scale of the threat. The economic impact is staggering but still being calculated. Tourism, agriculture, and infrastructure are all taking massive hits. Hotels and resorts face evacuations during peak seasons. Farmers watch crops and livestock threatened by advancing flames. And transportation networks struggle with road closures and disrupted services. The long-term costs of rebuilding communities, replanting forests, and upgrading fire prevention infrastructure will likely reach into the billions. Looking ahead, the immediate focus remains on saving lives and containing the current blazes. But this crisis is also forcing a fundamental rethinking of fire preparedness and response across Europe. Traditional approaches that worked for smaller, less frequent fires are proving inadequate for the new reality of climate-enhanced wildfire seasons. Countries are investing in new technologies, from advanced early warning systems to specialized firefighting equipment designed for extreme conditions. International cooperation is expanding, with resource-sharing agreements and joint training programs becoming more common. The European Union is also examining whether current funding mechanisms are adequate for the scale of assistance now required. But perhaps most importantly, this crisis is highlighting the urgent need for climate action. While better firefighting capabilities are essential, addressing the root causes of increasingly severe fire seasons,
it's not that climate change is igniting fires. Climate change is just making the environment ready. Very burnable, and not only in the Mediterranean. I mean, we see now fires occurring in places that have historically never seen or never had a big fire problem. So we know that under the right weather conditions, we will have wildfires. It's not like a maybe. So it's not a question if there will be a fire. The only question is when and how. So, and what I find remarkable is we know this, and yet in most cases, we just sit and wait for disaster to happen.
Requires tackling climate change itself. Climate scientists are clear that it's not that climate change is igniting fires, but rather that climate change is making the environment ready and very burnable. We're now seeing fires occurring in places that have never historically had a big fire problem. The wildfires burning across southern Europe today are both a consequence of past climate inaction and a preview of what could become the new normal without dramatic changes in how we approach environmental protection. The brave firefighters battling these blazes deserve our support and recognition. The communities forced to flee deserve rapid assistance and long-term rebuilding help. But most of all, future generations deserve action that prevents these scenes of destruction from becoming even more common and severe. As smoke continues to rise across southern Europe, the message is clear. This is not just a regional crisis, but a preview of challenges that could spread to any region on the horizon. Temperatures meet dry vegetation and strong winds. The time for half measures and delayed action is over. The fires burning today are writing tomorrow's headlines unless we act decisively to address both immediate fire preparedness and long-term climate stability. The question isn't whether Europe will face more severe fire seasons, it's whether we'll be ready for them.